Welcome in to 11 Personnel presented by Monticello Bank. Nick Roush and Adam Luckett here with you in the final week of spring practice for the Kentucky Wildcats. Get you geared up for the spring showcast. That's the podcast showcase. We're a podcast. It's going to be a showcase. Do not call it a practice. You can call it a showcast. You can call it anything you want, or you cannot call this a spring game, Luckett, under no circumstances. Is what happening Saturday at Kroger Field a game? Don't even think about it. I know you thought about it there for a second. You were to call it the spring game, not a spring game.
So what did they call it last year? I think is the real question here.
I think they just called it an open practice. They just said they were going to have an open practice. They had to cancel the game and only make it open practice.
But basically they had a full 11-on-11 scrimmage for
an hour.
Extended period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would assume we're getting something similar, but I guess time will tell. Are we getting a dunk contest?
Ooh.
3-point contest?
Hot dog eating contest?
Who can throw the ball the farthest? Zach Calzada or the rest of the quarterbacks?
I would like that. I would enjoy that.
Obstacle course?
I do have a hunch that it will be a kind of typical practice, maybe a little bit heavier on the team portions of it, where the first 30, 45 minutes, it's let's get warmed up, let's do some individual drills, maybe a little 7-on-7, and then scrimmage for an hour or so. And that is taking place Saturday morning, 10 a.m., a little bit earlier start time than you might expect something like this, but the Wildcats are playing Texas at noon, and so trying to navigate around that. But hey, it's kind of nice. You can get a little daily double dip. If you show up at 10:30, I don't think you'll miss anything. Get about an hour of football in, and then go head over and watch the Wildcats host top 10 Texas team. We're going to have more on the spring showcase, but first, I got to showcase our friends at Monticello Bank, proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. They've been ride or dies with us for the last couple of years, but they've been ride or dies for the Commonwealth for over 125. And right now, you can get the home court, the local banking advantage with Monticello Bank and their HELOC special. Use the money you've got in your home to upgrade it. It's pretty simple. They got the best HELOC around, home equity line of credit. Check it out in person to see what they can do for you at one of their 20 locations in 14 counties across the Commonwealth. You can also visit them online at nbcbank.com. Bank local, bank with Monticello Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Luckett, I didn't know the best way to go about it because it's hard to preview something that you don't even know what exactly it's going to be. They have not been specific. Last year, they simply went thud in the team period, which is, we used to call it button up, where you just kind of hit them with the shoulder pads and wrap up a little, but you aren't taking guys to the ground. I'm not sure if we'll get full tackle or not. I know they've done that in the previous 2 Saturdays where they've taken guys to the ground. And as Stoops mentioned a week ago, they've been healthy enough to where they can do that. But we don't know what the format is going to be. So I thought at least an exercise we could do is just to give folks some, hey, here's a number, right? They're going to have rosters to hand out. You're going to be able to see stuff. But, like, the whole talking point of this offseason, Luckett, is the roster transformation. We need to let people know who some of these guys are that are going to be making big plays for the Cats Saturday morning. So I thought, hey, let's just fire off some numbers for the people to get them familiar with ahead of the spring showcase.
Yeah, I first want to point out that Saturday will be the 15th practice, Nick.
Oh.
College football teams are allowed 15 practices in the spring. That is a
Yep.
number Kentucky has not got to in the last couple of years. I think they did 12 last year.
Yep.
Don't know that for certain, but they were a couple short. So they have, and to your point about the full contact tackle to the ground, this has been a more maximized, I would say, spring practice. Like, they're taking advantage of the opportunity to have practices at this time of year.
They're boxing.
So I just wanted to, yeah, I just want to point that out. That is a change in what they have done the last couple of years.
Another thing you'll notice a change in the podcast is Luckett left his mic at home. He's at KS office, so it's a little, it might sound a little bit different, but he's still got the takes that'll make you quake, the fries that'll cross your eyes, and the burgers. Well, I just got burgers. Can you name that movie?
Not off the top of my head. That sounds familiar.
It's Terry Crews in The Longest Yard remake.
That's
Sandler
right.
Version, yeah.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
Yeah, Cheeseburger Eddie. Cheeseburger Eddie will not be suiting up for the Cats, but I think just the number one player that people will be talking about after watching this team play is number one, Kendrick Law. We talked about him after watching him practice last week, but he's going to be the guy targeted early and often. Did they even have a number one on last year's team? I don't remember. If not, but he's a bigger guy who's going to be playing out of the slot. They'll certainly have things scripted up where he's going to be able to get loose for some big plays.
Maxwell
in that
Hairston,
team period.
who you're looking for.
There we go. Which maybe we can talk about him a little later. And the Beast came out today. But I think if you were to say, hey, who's the one guy everybody's going to be talking about of this? It's number one because of his athletic ability. He's going to get a lot of targets from Calzada, and he's probably going to run through some guys because he's a physical ball player. So number one is my number one, Kendrick Law, the Alabama transfer. Mr. Luckett, who you got your eye on this Saturday?
Yeah, so this is an interesting, I think, question. Pass rushing is something I've talked about, but it's going to be hard to really tell in like this kind of format to evaluate pass rush. Obviously, the offensive line sticks out, but what specific position sticks out? I would say look at the two tackles. That's, with number 50, Alex Woldschlager, Shiaz Pete, number 73, I believe.
Yep, that's
so correct. Those would be two. Just I haven't got to see them yet. Just what they look like in pads.
Yep.
How they look like they move full speed. It just kind of in general just how that offensive line kind of operates together. Do we remember last year? I believe we got ones versus ones, twos versus twos. Is that how it shook out?
Yeah, I believe that's how they'll go. And then later on, things will get a little more hodgepodge. They'll have Boley running with the ones, that sort of deal. Some of those linebackers, I'm sure, will be getting experience with the twos. But to your point, Shiaz Pete is he's just a mammoth of a man. And the thing that I like about the spring showcase and, fan day, stuff like that, is it is a chance for you to actually walk down and be up close there next to them and see them operate. And 73 versus number 2. Sam Green. I don't know what Sam Green is really bringing to the table. He looks good in pads. But both of the twos, the running back, number 2, Dante Dowdell, I'm curious what they're going to do out there. How much run will Dowdell get versus Patterson versus Wilcox? And then Green juggling him with all of the kind of edge talents there. Because, he strikes me as a jack. But is Steven Souls going to get more of those reps? What about Cam Olds? How do they, or is it just kind of a rotational piece? Souls is the one that fascinates me the most because he clearly showed us some stuff last year, Luckett, as a specialized third down pass rusher. But what position is he, right? He kind of came in as a third down defensive end and twisted and stunted and did all sorts of stuff as an undersized guy. Is he a jack? Is he a true Sam? Because I think his body type fits that. What exactly is going on there? I don't think we're going to get any answers tomorrow, but particularly in those third down obvious passing situations, those are numbers and guys I'm going to be watching those sort of matchups.
Yeah, just overall, from a pass rushing standpoint, it's going to be pretty vanilla. So it's just going to be hard to tell. But yeah, I think that's a fair wonder. Jacob Smith, where does he line up? I quietly think, Nick, you go back to last year, they couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground.
Yeah.
That's half of the season.
No.
I think you brought Sam Green in here to stop the run.
Set that edge.
Yeah, he's going to be really important, I think. Because guess what's going to happen when these games begin? Teams are going to try to run it down their throat. Teams are going to they saw what we saw right last year. So the Kentucky's going to have to prove early in the season that they can hold up against the run. And so I think Green is really important in that. You look at that edge room, like I have my doubts about some of the other guys, but I know that guy can come in and really help them and be an asset as a run defender. And so he's going to be really important, I think, specifically early in the year. No one's really talking about him, and I know he's probably not going to be necessarily – he might not be on the field there on it's 3rd and 9, right, because you want to get maybe a Souls in there, Cam Olds in there. You want to get maybe a little exotic or whatnot. But base downs, he's going to be, I think, a pretty important player for Kentucky. And so that's just something to keep in mind. I think you might be able to see some of what he can do as a run defender in the spring game. And then moving forward, he's a really important, I think, piece for them.
While we're on this topic, we talked about this guy a lot as a recruit. And now you're going to see him and potentially in a starting role with, I mean, these guys I think are the two of the more impressive players they have on the defense, period. And they both play the same position. And that's 95, Gerard Smith, and 90, McQueese Humphrey Grace. I'd like to see them both out there on the field at the same time. You can't always do that. But Smith he's got that grown-ass man look to him in the run game, in the run support. He's a homegrown guy, played for Corbin his senior year along with his brother Jacob, who will not be playing. He looks like he had knee surgery in the offseason. He was an immobilizer when we saw him. But Gerard this guy looks like a ball player, and we got just little bits and pieces last year. Now we get the full course, right? And with Grace, number 90, I came into the one media open practice like it kind of like you, where you're like, well, these sort of like the edges are very important, but how much can you actually get out of it? And he's forcing fumbles. So like the playmaking ability, the athleticism, like I do think they're a great 1-2 punch. Whereas I know it's kind of weird because we're sitting here, we're talking about guys you want to see in the spring. Like normally it's the new athletes, the guys making plays in space. But I think if you're going to this game, if you like blocking and tackling, this is going to be fun to watch the guys in the trenches compete because it's fresh blood on both sides of the line of scrimmage and pretty good athletes who are either proven or were high caliber recruits. So that's where I think the day is going to be, aka won or lost.
Yeah, I think typically the big winners in this kind of event are players you haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I go back to Jamin Davis. I think it was his red shirt, going into his red shirt freshman season.
Yeah, he had like a dozen tackles and a pick.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, he looks the part.
Yeah.
He can maybe help Kentucky. So that's really, I think, Bryce Oliver was the other one that comes to mind. Right? He had this monster day, and now look at him. He's on the Titans, right?
Yeah.
He's making plays for them. And so that's almost, I think, from a fan's lens, that's what this event is for, because we don't see practice, right?
Right.
For our jobs. This is to see who's like, oh, they match, like the eye test checks out with this player. And that's what I think this event can serve you, because you can find guys who maybe won't be starters, but maybe could be a really good player a couple years down the road, because you're like, oh, he looks good. Maybe they should play him.
Yeah, number 7, DJ Miller. He's going to do that. He's going to have a couple awesome catches, 1 or 2. Maybe throw it up to Miller in the red zone. He's going to be that's my prediction as who's this guy? We got to get him the ball more. He's still a very raw talent, but there's a lot of good athletic traits there. Great high pointer of the football, can go up and get it. I think he's going to be that guy. Matt G, he is not alone in the chat saying that he wants to see the quarterback get the ball out on time. Look, this feels like the first time in a long time that we are going to enter a spring game setting where, we think we know where the quarterback, like which way it's leaning, but we still need to see it. I remember that being the case with Gunnar Hoke versus Terry Wilson, and I thought it was abundantly clear that Terry was just better. I have a hunch you're probably going to see something similar, even if it isn't a clean process. Because Boley is good for some kind of highlight maker plays. He hits the uppercuts, but Calzada can land the jabs, and that thing is it's got some zip on it, especially on like a third and medium situation. I think he's going to put it on some guys. So I know that's going to be a lot of the talking points when we go do our rapid reaction after the spring showcase. Calzada is going to be the first person we talk about, and I'm wondering what your expectation is of that guy, and like what even is good for a quarterback in the spring setting, because it's hard to come away and just be like, man, I don't know about that quarterback, because more than likely you're going to see enough stuff that says, you know what, I think this guy might be good.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk about Calzada's arm strength, throwing power. Last couple weeks, I think they're probably going to make a concerted effort to throw a big bomb early in this spring game. So I would look for that. The expectation, to me in this quarterback, it's like it's way down the list of things I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. They're playing free. Like they're not going to let anyone touch them with something like this. I think what you want to see is just them look sharp and in control and to play on time. And that's really all you can ask for in an event like this. I think it's also important to remember the defenses they're going to be going up against are going to be pretty vanilla. So if you see, I'd be concerned if you want to put it that way, maybe if you see 3 and outs or whatnot. But Freddie has told the story about how throwing an interception because the guy was playing the wrong. Like you made the right read on the coverage, but one guy was just playing cowboy because he didn't know what the defensive call was. So he was out of position. So that can happen too. So you just want him to, I think physically you want him to look the part. That is the big thing, I think, going into this event. One, you want to see him. I think a lot of people going into this have never seen him throw a football. Have never probably gotten on YouTube, put Zach Calzada in, never seen him throw the ball. So this will be the first time a lot of people see the starting quarterback at the University of Kentucky throw a football pass. And so you just want to see them, any quarterback in this situation, just kind of look the part. I do think it could be interesting where there could be a scenario where Calzada just looks okay and Cutter lights it up, right?
Yeah.
Because Cutter, watching him, he's very aesthetically pleasing to watch as a quarterback. Like, when he's on, it looks very pretty, right? So that would be something that could be interesting, but I do think, regardless, this is Calzada's job.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in but I certainly think that Boley's going to have at least one highlight-worthy play that's going to have people on KS Board talking about it afterward. So I'm preparing for that. That's just like one part of the weekend, though. We got a nice little sports weekend ahead of us. Like it.
Have you looked at the weather for Saturday?
60 and cloudy, but not expected to be any rain.
Yeah. So
a little bit on the chillier side.
About what you can expect this time of year. So not the snowgate we got.
God, that was
2022.
That was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But it is weird though. Like one of the guys we follow, he noticed that what used to be just littering our TV this time of year were spring games all the time. A lot of them are going off TV. I know Coach Prime, he's going to have his on ESPN2, and I think A&M might still be having one. There's a few out there, but we're no longer having spring games compete with the Masters, so that's not really the case. But we do have some drama from spring practices, and I want to talk about it right after I tell you who you should suit up with this spring, and that's our friends at Roback. They've got all the right gear to make sure you're game day ready, whether you're going to the track, you're going to the golf course. I know the golf courses are probably a little washed out for a few days, but once they dry out, it's going to be time to throw on your Roback gear and look good, feel good, play good. Use promo code KSR when you sign up, and you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at roback.com, RHOBACK.com. They've got all your gear from hats, shirts, golf shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, shorts, joggers. But I'm all in on the polos. The polos, their performance polos are outstanding for game day or any day of the week at Roback. Just use promo code KSR to get 20% off your first purchase at roback.com. Luckett, our favorite coach in the SEC was back in the news this week. Shane Beamer.
He also had an exclusive with The Athletic that just hit too. So Beamer doing his thing, man. You have to give him props. He is unapologetically him. So you know what to expect.
I want him to be the guy that says we don't read the headlines, because he makes it abundantly clear that he reads all the headlines. Nobody is more online in college football than Shane Beamer. And he did the kind of Charlie Strong thing, which he tried to take like a pot shot that, we had spring open, but, everybody was still following basketball. But we opened it up. We even gave you 30 more minutes than normal to watch practice. And then, so he was mad that not enough people showed up. Charlie Strong was infuriated by that back in the day. And then, secondly, he was mad at the media who did show up because they didn't see team period, but they still shared what players were rolling with the first team, the second team, and the third team. And my favorite part of his 3-minute rant, Luckett, was when he said, I've never once said first team, second team, third team. Now, we do have an A group, a B group, and a C group. And it's like, but dude, what is your problem? That guy, I just don't know how a coach who makes that much money can be so sensitive to what Johnny Gamecock's writing on their blog about their spring practice depth charts. It's unbelievable.
I think that's his fuel. That's what drives him. So he's got to have it. He's got to have it.
It's unbelievable.
But yeah, I think what you're seeing from Beamer, Nick, is kind of the natural progression of football coach who wins games. Like, he won 9 games, so he's like, I'm the king of the roost.
Yeah.
I am Charlie Gamecock now. So why isn't everyone here?
When their women's basketball team is in the national championship game,
So I just think that's these jobs you have to have a big ego to have these jobs. So I think it's natural and expected to see them say some stuff like Beamer said this week. The thing with Beamer is he's too transparent.
He can't even poke at him, He's just too transparent.
But you have to appreciate a person who is too transparent in a non-transparent world, because no one else is given this kind of transparency. He lets you know how he feels, even if you're Brett Bielema, and he's not afraid to say what he needs to say, and he's not afraid to defend his programs against Gene when he thinks Gene writes an unfair column. And so that was an entertaining piece, but it was very much Beamer being Beamer. That's just what that was, and it's a very this year's fascinating. I think for them, because I've been in the middle of draft prep research. I don't think people realize how many guys off that defense they had that are going to be top 100 picks.
Eamon, or I can't even say his name, but
Eamon, Demetrius Knight, a linebacker, Kyle Kennard, probably going to be a 3rd-round pick. TJ Sanders is going to be a 2nd-round pick at defensive tackle. And then there's there's a couple cornerbacks. O'Donnell Fortune, that's 5 or 6 I just named. 4 or 5 of them are going to go in the first 3 rounds. Like they had a loaded for bear defense, and are they going to have that again? I know, like the low hanging fruit is just to be like, oh, they got that freshman back, right?
Right.
That freshman edge rusher, they're going to be good on defense because they have him. But that was their defense was like this under Clayton White. It was like 45, 50, 40, 50, 10. Now where does it go from there?
Yeah.
Does it stay up here, or does it drop back to where it was without the tailor-made NFL players they had last year? So they're very fascinating. And then Sellers, an new offensive coordinator. What does that look like? Offense hasn't been a strength for them, even last year or the year before when Rattler was gassed up. And so they're a very interesting team, I think, heading into this year. Because it's a big year for Beamer to try to kind of prove like they're not going anywhere. But it's very easy to see them. They could slip to that 7-5, 6-6 mark.
Got a new offensive coordinator for Lenore Sellers to learn from. That could provide a big hiccup as well. Because that was Peanut Butter Posse was asking what SEC games are winnable this year, and even though that one is on the road, I could see that being. I mean, that's a winnable game. Last year's obviously got away from Kentucky in a hurry, but that was still a 2-touchdown game. I think, despite how bad Kentucky was playing, it was 31
I would
to
just
14 or something.
I mean, I guess how do you define winnable would be my question. Like how many
one-score game. It's a one-score game. You got a chance to go win it if you win within the margin. Something Kentucky has not done in recent memory.
So a game, they were in a lot of one-score games last year against like the best teams.
Yep.
Are we defining those as winnable? I think that would probably be in like just a general statement that would be unfair. But if you want to get into context, to me, I think what you're trying to say is, all right, how many games are there going to be favored or a dog of a touchdown or less? Like, I think that is what you're looking for. And the 2 home ones, I would point out, like Ole Miss, maybe, but more likely Florida are probably going to be the ones, like the 2 most winnable home games. And then Tennessee's probably right there with them. On the road, Nick, Vandy, and I think Auburn, they will be within right around a touchdown. So in Louisville as well. So they're going to have winnable games. If you're just going through it, you can find 5 to 6 or right around 4, 5, 6 power conference games that will be winnable. The ones that won't, like obviously Georgia on the road, is not going to be a very bit winnable game. South Carolina, I would put in the former. So there's going to be winnable games. It's just whether they can win them or not. Now, just looking at preseason SP Plus here, which will change. Georgia's 4th, Tennessee's 8th at home, Ole Miss 9th at home, Texas 7th at home. So your home games are actually
your toughest.
Yeah, they're actually the toughest. I would say, when you hit the road, South Carolina, I guess you get Florida at home too. So throw Florida in there. Florida's probably your most winnable home game. And then on the road, Vandy, Louisville, and then South Carolina's kind of in that tier, I would say, with Florida and Louisville. And so they're going to have some winnable games, but the home slate, brutal. Like Tennessee, a team you can't beat, and then you got to play Texas and Georgia, who could very well be the best 2 teams in college football, up there with Ohio State. Like if you were going to rank preseason, both of those are in the top. I don't see how you rank either of them outside of the top 5, and they come to your house. And Florida's going to be everyone's favorite playoff pick this summer.
Yeah. Did we ever talk about DJ Lagway just not practicing this year, though? Did we get into that? I mentioned, I forgot who I was talking to randomly, and they were like, yeah, my guy down in Florida says that DJ Lagway hasn't practiced at all and isn't practicing, which that...
They did not. I don't think we did, at least not on... Maybe we did. Can't remember. But they're not saying anything about the injury. It's a shoulder.
It's his throwing shoulder.
They're saying it's minor, yada, 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 but it's like, how minor is it that he can't throw at all right now?
That's not.
So that's going to be something to watch. And if you remember the last year, like, he was injury prone.
Yeah.
The hand. Remember, he got injured against Georgia, and they thought his hamstring just came off of his
exploded
body and just landed on the field. It was just there in Jacksonville, just hanging out. There's DJ Ladgewake's hamstring. How are we going to get this back on him? And he only missed one game, but I think there was another injury too along the line. So injuries were a thing for him last year. So that'll be an interesting summer topic. And I have a hunch, Nick, that's going to be like one of the number one topics in SEC Media Days.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's a very much an SEC Media Days. That'll carry a day. Is his shoulder,
especially if they don't bring him, right?
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine why they wouldn't, but yeah, that would be. You're exactly right. It's going to be DJ Lagway shoulder day, which I'm looking. I was trying to look ahead, thinking about what's going on. Like it'll be fun getting the takes ready for SEC Media Days. You mentioned NFL Draft. We are 15 days away from the event beginning in Green Bay. I think what the plan will be, Luckett, is that we do our kind of preview of it next week, and then our podcast will just be the watch-along during the NFL Draft on Thursday night. But the Beast did drop today, and the 10,000-foot look is Hairston, first or second. Pop Dumas Johnson, probably going to get picked on day 3, and then Deion Walker is in danger of dropping all the way to day 3 in the fourth.
Eli will get picked. Eli Cox will be picked day 3 too.
Yeah. So that's kind of the 10,000-foot stuff. Pretty remarkable drop for Deion to go from first round to fourth round. But
I would say 3rd to 4th, but I also think like Deion's highs. I would be surprised if he gets out of the 3rd round.
Just because he's such a rare
league needs pass rushers, and part of the scouting, I think, with Deion is that he was hurt last year, and that part of the reason you see him playing fatigued is because he's playing too many snaps. So what if we get this guy and we only ask him to play 15, 18 snaps and just rush the passer? There's positional versatility, all that. I'd be pretty surprised if he falls out, but he's a unique player, just how he's built. He's got skinny legs, but how he can move and rush, I think that'll be enough where someone will take, I think, because the comp picks start in the 3rd round. So in the 3rd round, you get the extra picks. I think he'll probably come off. My prediction is he comes off in the when we start the comp picks in the 3rd round.
Okay. Well, we'll have more of that on next week's show. We'll also be recapping all of the spring showcase, but we're getting to one of our favorite segments here. And you know what? We're gonna have Luckett's Locks. We're gonna have him sponsored by My Perfect Franchise. Andy Ludicky at myperfectfranchise.net. Andy will help you in the world of franchising. Looking for something new, want to diversify, build wealth, have a job, and want a side hustle too? No matter what the case may be, Andy is a franchise consultant that can connect you with whatever it may be, whether it's fast food to youth sports to just equipment services. I mean, there's so many different franchising opportunities out there. Let Andy connect you with one that works for your lifestyle, what you like, what you're passionate about, and what could help make you a few dollars. Best part is Andy's services are completely free. He's just here to help. So head on over to myperfectfranchise.net to learn more. You can call him at 404-973-9901. Visit him online at myperfectfranchise.net. Luckett, it's time for a tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS. You've been crunching the numbers, you've been studying up, and now you've got the locks for us to win big at Augusta National this week. I've been trying to give out some horse plays on KSR Plus. If you aren't on there, subscribe. UK1 will get you 2 months for $1. A lot of transfer portal intel been dropping on there, but I've shared some horse plays. I got killed on Bluegrass Stakes Day, but gave out a 9-1 winner on Monday. We'll probably have some more this weekend. I love playing the horses, but you love giving out Masters picks. I've got one person in mind. I'm curious if he's going to be on your board. So Luckett, lay it out for us. Who is going to cash tickets for us this weekend at the Masters?
I had a revelation today.
Oh.
A week or two ago, news was reported that this is going to be Jim Nance's 11th to the last Masters. Jim Nantz is retiring in 11 years. I'll be damned. Guess what Masters this is?
The 90th?
This is the 89th. So
Oh, wow.
if my math is right, Jim Nantz has synced it up where his last Masters is going to be the 100th Masters. So I cannot wait for that. 11 years. I'll be mid-40s. Cannot wait for that. And I hope we don't get a huge diatribe and we start the Coach K countdown for Jim Nantz at the Masters. So that was my one hope for this weekend.
I never saw the actual interview where it was said, but I got to think that he was just like saying, I want to make it to the 100th Masters. Like, I hope he wasn't like, well, are you ready for this? I've got a big announcement. Because that would be so lame.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and says that during one of his little monologues
from
this
Butler
weekend.
Cabin. Two things that I do like about this year in particular is one, we're getting more Masters coverage, so we're not waiting until 3 in the afternoon. I think CBS is just going from noon till whenever on Saturday and Sunday, so that's good. Like, the restrictions on their broadcasts I always felt was so stupid. The other thing that I like about the Masters, it's a great reminder of the live golfers out there that we just completely forgot about. Today, for me, that was Cam Smith, because Cam Smith was rocking a blazer out when he was practicing, which was a bit unusual. Totally forgot that Cam Smith was absolutely kicking ass. I believe he won the Open, and the next day was like, yeah, I'm going to live. And then now we've just never seen or heard from him ever again. So maybe he'll be decent. Maybe he'll be good. But the live golfers, the Joaquin Niemans of the world, I know Bryson never goes anywhere because he's always doing something silly. But I do love the random live golfers that you forget about until the majors start rolling around again.
Yeah, Nick, to my knowledge, TV is the same. And I don't know if you saw something else, but
they've been pimping out bonus coverage. Maybe it's just because it's going to be on CBS instead of ESPN on Saturday and Sunday. But CBS is 12 to 7.
Yeah, if you had to buy Paramount Plus, or get Paramount Plus like the Luckets did, so we could watch Paw Patrol, you will have everything. Everything is on Paramount Plus. So all the stuff in the morning, the feature groups, all of that is on Paramount Plus. That is the difference. Other than that, Masters.com, Masters app is what you're looking for. Now, I think you might, if you get the CBS Sports app, I think you might be able to stream some of this as well.
So CBS is extending their coverage each day by 1 hour. So instead of 3 to 7, 2 to 7 now. Can you believe that? Huh.
What a world. I know they usually go a little early on Sunday, but I guess they're doing. I see that they're doing 2 to 7 on Saturday now too. Alrighty then.
So who we got? Who we got in the picks?
All right, you all know I've been doing this, like 4 years now on 11 personnel, and I say it every year. This is a second shot course. You gotta be good in the second shot. The one, to your point on the live, I don't love the live because I don't have up-to-date stats on how these golfers are doing, playing their fake golf courses, wherever they're at. So I don't have any live guys in here. So if you want to live dangerously, no pun intended, and go to that. But I know Bryson typically is not a very strong second shot player, but Joaquin has been in his career in the past.
Yep.
So that's just my 2 cents there.
He's won a couple times too on live recently, so he's been popular.
Well, Neiman's also been popping off at the mouth saying he's like the best player in the world when he's not. So I could definitely see maybe him having a humbling finish here too.
I'm also tempted with the live golfers. They have a bet: will a live golfer win? Yes or no? And money has been on no, which has gotten yes up to plus 350, which is kind of tempting when you consider that you get Bryson, Rahm, and Neiman out of that field. So, Here we go.
Yeah, he's winning. I mean, he's winning some of these live tournaments and just really is really feeling himself. Phil recently said he's the number one player in the world. Uh, I have my doubts on that statement, but he's one. I think he kind of fits this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
If you were looking at some live guys, for me, I've talked about this guy nonstop, and I do have my best bets column went live on Kazar Plus right before we got on here. But Colin Morikawa, best iron player in the world. It's only a matter of time before he wins this tournament. You can get him at 16 to 1. He's got 2 major championships, 3 consecutive top 10 finishes at Augusta National. He's got 2 runner-up finishes and 5 starts this season. Like, he's gonna win it eventually. So this is a year I'm jumping on him.
That was kind of like my theory of betting Xander in majors last year because you felt like he was close and he was going to break through.
Yeah.
It's a little different with Morikawa that it's just this specific place he hasn't won at yet.
Yeah.
But to your point, not the worst idea.
Yeah, and then so yeah, he's just like that's really what I'm looking at, second shots. But like the game just fits him, and he's playing well. He's playing to his strengths, I think, right now. Morikawa is. I like to look at recent form too at Augusta because Augusta's different than any other place.
Mm-hmm.
And he, you get that 3 top 10 finishes. I think there's a lot to like with him this weekend. And you can even get a top 10. Like you're going to get decent odds for him at a top 10 too. So Morikawa to win top 10 or top 5. Maybe if you're just looking to play it a little safer, you probably can find plus odds there. So Morikawa is my pick to win the green jacket this weekend.
Okay. And do you have any top 10, top 5 plays?
Another favorite guy, iron player. He's played really well at Augusta, Will Zalatoris. He's back healthy again. 3 consecutive top 10 finishes at Augusta. He's just under 3 to 1 top 10. Zalatoris is. He has been in contention in majors.
He's played well there. Yeah.
I've kind of coined him as he's the new Louis Oosthuizen. Like, at majors he's going to be a threat, but he's probably not going to win it. But you can find some value on some of these top 10 and top 5 if you're in the betting markets. So he's my top 10 pick this week. Russell Henley is another strong iron player. He was finishing the top 5 at Augusta last year. He's got 4 top 25 finishes and 7 starts this season with a win down at Bay Hill at Arnold Palmer in March. Top 20, you can get him at plus odds, plus 110. I think this course fits him. And then one of my favorite bets to make in this event, Nick, is like miscut bets.
Oh,
playing someone to miss the cuts. It makes the Thursday and Friday more interesting, especially if it gets especially if they don't play well on Thursday. Then you really want to watch on Friday. Jordan Spieth has won this tournament before. When he's on, he's a very good iron player, but his irons have not been great this year. He's sub 80 in strokes gain approach. If he's going to contend here, he's got to have his irons locked in. If his irons aren't locked in, I think he's going to be in trouble. And we know how erratic he is off the tee box.
Oh, he is hot or cold. There's no in
between. Everyone knows, watch Spieth, that it can be an adventure. And so if he's missing tee shots and the irons aren't locked in, I think there's definitely a chance he can miss the cut. And it's not like he hasn't done it before. He's missed 2 of the last 3 cuts at Augusta. Missed cut for Spieth, plus 215. You can get over 2 to 1 for him to miss the cut here. And those are my best bets for this weekend.
So my play is simply because we had a PJ Pro on the radio show, but I like the play because it fits a lot of your categories where Victor Hovland's been close a lot, but no cigar. He's had a top 10 finish at the Masters, but he's in that, like, he's going to be on in contention on Sunday, has yet to close a deal in a major, but is top 10 in strokes gains near the green. He fits that mold. So I took a little sprinkle at plus 3,400 to win, but more importantly, plus 250 to be in the top 10. Like that I like those odds. I like how they stack up. So I'm riding with Victor Hovland. In your pools, he's probably like your kind of B-list golfer. So I like that. I like that kind of coming from the back, maybe an odds guy. And he just couple of weeks ago, he was down 3 strokes at the 13th hole and won the tournament. So
Yeah.
playing good as
He's
of late.
he's very volatile. He's a very volatile player. He's very unpredictable. He's the type of player that could shoot 62, 75 to start a tournament here.
Oh man.
So, and I think it's important to remember, like, bogey avoidance is big here.
Yeah.
Take out the Dustin Johnson COVID when they played in November. The last 5, 6 winners have been between, I think it's last 7 have been between 9 under and 15 under. And one got to 15. Everyone else was at 9, 10, and 11. So, like, that's typically what wins this tournament. You get to 10 or 11 under par. Yeah, and there's different ways to do it. Like Hideki did it he was just white hot on that Saturday, and he ran away from the field. And these other 3 rounds were just good enough to win it. Or you can do the consistent 3 under, 69, 69, 69, 69 every day, and that can get you to the number you need. So
it feels like a real Tony Finau approach, right? Like
so,
just
like,
messing around on the top 10.
I say all that to say, like, you just have to avoid the bad day. Yeah, you have to avoid the bad. If you're able to do that, that's really gonna benefit you. And in the column, I have kind of a list of some of the players worth consideration who've been really good approach players this year. But typically for me, it's making sure you're good in approach, and then I like recent Masters form because I think that's typically the guys that play well here continuously play well, and as you gain experience, that usually benefits you moving forward. And so that's just something to keep in mind. Or I'm just a dumbass for not betting Scheffler. Scheffler's got plus odds. Why am I not betting the real best player in the world?
Oh, fair enough. Did you see Scotty's meal? It looked like a pretty decent meal.
Yeah, Scotty just gives off very, like, one of us vibes. I think that's probably why I like him so much.
It also got people, because it isn't the most exotic, but, like, he had firecracker shrimp on there, meatballs as appetizers, steak or seafood. But it brought up the worst Masters dinner of all time, and that was Bubba Watson's. And it didn't have any options. It was just traditional Caesar salad, grilled chicken breast with mashed potatoes, green beans, corn, mac and cheese. And then for dessert, confetti cake with ice cream. I mean, you want to talk about the most, like, a child designed this meal, it's that. Except the grilled chicken breast. They would have had the grilled chicken breast. Grilled chicken breast, too, is can you be more vanilla, buddy? Like, you couldn't even do fried chicken?
That's something you, like, if you're on a strict diet, you eat every day or something.
Yeah.
But, like, this is a special occasion. Like, can we get some T-bones or something, man?
Juice it up a little bit. I mean, Bubba had, like, a brief moment of being popular to just, like, hate it just like that. Like, this guy kind of sucks. And part of it has to go back to that Masters dinner. Bad choice, Bubba. Bad choice.
Yeah.
Is Roosters catering your Masters dinner? You just eating wings?
I don't know. But, like, back to Scheffler, like, that guy went to a dive bar that I guess they hang out at after he won the Masters and was wearing his green jacket and bought people drinks and was hanging out playing Golden Tee. Like, that is my Masters champion right there. And so that's why I think I like him so much. But to me, I don't, I think you have to do steak, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Steak, baked potato.
It's probably
T-bones.
And then
to me, I would get chocolate cake would be the dessert for sure.
I would maybe do a cheesecake because I feel like a good cheesecake is not like, if they're going to do it right, it's going to be like just off the charts good. But I'm pretty indifferent. I do like that almost all of these always include ice cream because, some of the stuff out there, it's a lot of food. You always got room for ice cream. Like, there's never been a time in your life where you're like, oh no, I'm too full for ice cream. You can always take a little bit. I think what I would do too, like it, is I would have like 10 apps because in my drinking form, I just want to eat apps, right? Like, give me some fried pickles, maybe some like small quesadillas, some dips. I would
have to have some form of queso there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shrimp just in general. Like, there's one Christmas party I would go to where every year they had shrimp cocktail and I would eat about 8. And the year they didn't have shrimp cocktail, I was just like, what am I even doing here? Like, this is the whole
I don't know
reason
what to do with
I'm
my
here.
hands.
Yeah, I'm here for the shrimp cocktail. By God, let me get the damn shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, maybe we would just instead of Butler Cabin, we would just go to Hooters. Go to Augusta
yeah.
Hooters, see if Bill Self's there. Let's go
Andy
and have a good
Kennedy.
time.
Yeah, he's always holding down the fort. How do you have any big plans for Masters? Like, do you get a spread set up to watch, or is it just can I get some time where I can maybe take a nap and the kids aren't yelling?
Yeah, this will be the first time I've watched with two, I would say, active boys. Henry was still, I mean, he
Yeah.
was sleeping all the time this time last year.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're real busy with work around Masters the last couple of years. Like Saturday's my favorite day to watch because that's when
spring game to go to.
you get the separators and you just sit there and watch it all day. But yeah, we got a spring game. But it is what it is. We'll have the iPad locked and loaded for the game this week. And
So that's why you were asking me if we were going to be in the press box or not.
that was part of the reason. I didn't know if they specified.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But I just sit down and watch it on the couch. And Father's Day, U.S. Open is the one where I'm just like, the only thing I want to do, I just want to sit down and watch the final round. Just let me sit and watch this in peace. But yeah, we'll just watch at the house, enjoy it, and then try to consume as much as I can on Thursday and Friday because it is like I love the majors and I love sitting down and watch golf like championship golf all week. And this is the first one, and it's the best one. So, just gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun to
And hopefully, we'll cash some tickets along the way.
It would
That
be
always
great
makes it better.
to cash some tickets there, cash some tickets at Keeneland, and watch some football. Get to watch the Cats Saturday, 10 a.m. at Kroger Field. Luckett and I will be holding down the fort on the website and here on the KSR YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed. I think Peak will be able to share some highlights online as well for those who can't make it. So plenty of coverage coming from Saturday at Kroger Field, and we'll be here talking about it all next week too. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.